Barry, just got a message from you. I don't know, third grade. What do you mean third grade? Sorry.
Elementary school.
Okay.
Assume I know nothing.
Okay.
I'm old. I don't know nothing.
No, I don't believe that.
Nancy, one question. In these 5 years, we count 2020 or we skip 2020?
Whatever.
Because
you think.
2020, it was a total bust.
5 years from now.
We'll pretend it's 2020.
5 years from now, yeah.
Yes,
Oh,
5 years
okay,
from
okay.
now.
From now? Oh, okay.
Yes. So you've had nothing but blue skies, baby.
We'll have to go to Bora Bora to see Jessica because she's been so successful in her speaking.
All right, folks, we are live on Facebook. Welcome to Lunch and Learn Zoom Friday. And today we have a special treat because we are here at our 5-year reunion for our Global Tribe of Eagles. We're going to go around the room today. We are celebrating the achievements of all of our members. Who would like to start us off by telling us what you've been up to for the last 5 years? Vivian, would you like to go first?
I would like to go first because remembering the future is a game that I play in my improv workshops, and my improv workshops have taken off because in 2021, as you can see, I published my book, Creativity the Non-Artist Way, and it became a bestseller in the transformation and self-help realm because I was able to help people understand how creativity is a way of transforming their lives. And after 2021, there was so much transformation that needed to happen, and people needed an easy tool, and creativity and improv were people understood all of a sudden that it's just a way of opening your mind and still allowing joy, because there was so much unsettling that they needed a place to feel playful and connected to what is essential in life. And joy is absolutely one of those experiences. So it has been a great time of speaking and teaching and traveling. I finally got to go to Tahiti, which I wanting to go to so badly, and help people start urban gardening, and actually got married. And
well, let's save some of that. Let's save some of that for our next round. Vivian, sounds like you've had a wonderful 5 years.
It's been awesome. And it all started in that meeting with you in 2020.
All right, fabulous. Congratulations. Marcia, come on down. What have you been up to, girl?
Well, I wrote 2 other books, and they both became #1 international best-selling books. I bought my home, designed it, and paid cash for it. And I met my spiritual partner, and we are together creating and vision casting for the next 5 years moving forward.
Wow, that's amazing. Gary Sizemore, what have you been up to?
I am Gary Sizemore, and I just took possession of my new yacht behind me, and the helicopter's on its way. So I built an entrepreneurial enterprise and have several successful businesses that are bringing in the money.
Wonderful. And for those of you who haven't got the memo yet, Gary has graciously agreed that he's going to host one of our parties for all of us. So stay tuned for a date coming soon. Monica, what have you been up to for the last 5 years?
Oh, honing my skills in jewelry making, and setting up my business and incorporating my business because my sales are really on the uphill, and gathering more than 6,000 followers on the Instagram, and doing what I love, jewelry.
All right. One of the things that might be helpful for those who are out there on Facebook land listening to us live, make sure you introduce yourself and tell us your name and where you're calling in from Barry. Would you like to go next?
Sure would. And 5 years from now, I'm Barry with Melaleuca in Annapolis, Maryland. And you see me on the beach because I have been literally taking care of thousands of families over the last 5 years with my company. And that has supported them and that has supported me. And Linda and I just get to enjoy each other. And why I look like this is because 5 years later, I'm actually younger.
Oh man, that's what I'm talking about.
There you go.
Bruce Barnes up in Seattle.
Hello, I can't believe it's been 5 years. I am so excited. This is, besides my business exploding and thriving and everything, I met my beloved. And she had a couple of kids and 7 grandkids. So I became an instant dad and an instant granddad and just having a blast with the family and just loving it.
Wonderful. Well, you look fabulous. Olivia Vo.
Oh my gosh, guys, it's been so long since I've last seen you. I've just been flying all over the world. I'm world famous now. And I am the award-winning producer of my LinkedIn Live show. And I interview millions of inspiring entrepreneurs every week.
Love it. Jessica.
I have been spending lots of time in the sun, so you can see I'm so much tanner. We finally designed and built that house much closer to the beach where I want to be so I can listen to the waves crash. I spend a lot of time painting and teaching an exercise class locally and really just enjoying life.
Laura Armstrong.
Yeah, so glad to be here. So I hit 10 figures last year, so I'm pretty thrilled about that. We bought our home in Hawaii, and I am working at the United Nations creating empowerment programs for people all over the world.
Love it. Love it. Congratulations on that huge milestone. Ellie.
Oh my goodness, it is so good to see all of you. The last 5 years have been absolute insanity. It's been pure magic, and it has been my biggest honor and privilege to have served over 5 million people so far. And all the impact that has come from that has blessed me with such abundance that I am launching entrepreneur centers all over the world, and we're able to really get into underserved areas and create impact and create opportunity. So the impact from all of the millions of people that I'm serving is allowing me the honor and the privilege to pay that forward and create opportunity where there hasn't been. So it's been an amazing 5 years, and I can't wait to see the next 5.
All right. Kay Lehman, looks like your future's so bright, you got to wear shades.
I just want you all to know that I'm Kay Lehman, and the last 5 years, you guys have just been awesome. I have the best team that work with me to build our time freedom and life freedom. And Steve and I have been able to go on several mission trips. We spent a year, we bought a boat and spent a year going through the Great Loop and just continuing to meet new people, creating new friends, creating new team members, continuing to build our business while we're having fun and enjoying life. It's been awesome, you guys.
Well, it sounds like it. Claudio.
What a ride. That's all I can say. You know, my biggest goal, and this has been my goal for several years, is to be able to retire my wife. And I did that 4 years ago. Now, the biggest challenge I'm having right now is up till now, I've been tuning into Lunch and Learn every single Friday from a different location. I'm running out of places. My bucket list is done. I've got to find more places to go. You know, you can see behind you that's a picture of me yesterday, you know, with a drink in my hand or on the side of the pool there. And I've actually finally gave in to my wife and I decided to color my hair. So you can see that I've gotten rid of a lot of the gray there, but and I got my sunglasses on. So yeah, if anybody has any suggestions for where I can be next week, let me know. I'd love to show you around and maybe do a little tour with you.
Sounds fabulous. Balbier.
Oh my goodness, what a ride. And you know what, Nancy, when I met you 5-6 years ago, it's been the beginning of a huge journey. I have my dream home complete with my garage and my, 5 cars. Actually, I'm waiting for my 6th one. So I'm waiting for that. I have a retreat in a paradise spot, and I invite my team to come out, and we do training, and they actually bring the whole family out. So we've just had one of those, been fantastic. They got all the training, they got to relax with their families. They were completely taken care of, and they had a blast. So we've just finished that. I'm just got to go back now and just living life spontaneously. My parents are still alive, and I get to go for the weekend to the UK or wherever I like, just for the UK. It's absolutely fabulous. Thank you.
Boy, this is so exciting. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. Priscilla Rose, what have you been up to, girl?
Oh, hello, everyone. I'm Priscilla Rose, an associate of Legal Shield, ID Shield. And for the past 5 years, I've worked so hard, and God has blessed me that I have finally reached the executive director level. And because of that, I'm able to save and earn at least $2,000 a month in residual income. And I do that, and I love what I do, which is helping people. So I just thank God for what he has done for me.
Very good. Jock, are you available? I think Jock has stepped away from the desk right quick. Okay, what I would like to do now is go around for another round. And one of the things that we promote is enriching all areas of our life. And I want everybody that's out there listening to us, I don't want you to get the wrong idea that we're all about just money. Money is just a tool, right? Money is just a tool. Whoever said money isn't everything, evidently has never tried to live a day without it. The more money, the more wealth that we have, the more good that we can do in this world. But one of the wonderful categories that we need to discuss is our health, fitness, and nutrition. So I know last time we spoke at our last reunion, we were talking about all the things that we wanted to do health and nutrition wise. So who'd like to start us off and tell us about your health journey? Bruce, would you like to start us off?
Absolutely. This is the journey that I started, a little over 6 years ago, and Isogenics has just been thriving. My health has continued to improve, and more important, I've impacted thousands of families. The health that they experienced, the improvements and stuff, has just been absolutely amazing to watch and stuff. It's not just like weight and that, but it's the overall health and wellness to see the improvements. So exciting.
I agree. And one of my goals was, I want to be fit for life. And for me, fit for life means not just physically, but mentally, spiritually, and financially. And Jeffrey Berger is not able to be with us today. I don't know if you got that memo that his mother has passed away. And I want him to come in and be sharing with us some of the tools that he has available for getting mentally fit. And that's very, very important. Barry, would you like to come on board and tell us about your health and wellness journey?
Well, that's easy for me because being with Melaleuca, by 2021, I had already lost about 35 pounds. And now, 5 years later, another 25. But here's the important thing for me. I get to take care of other folks so that they can take care of their families. And I hear a call almost every day, somebody sharing that. So that is a blessed thing for me to have in my life and for them to have in their lives.
Thank you for sharing. Marcia.
Well, you know, a big part of my business for the past few years has been around health and wellness, specifically about weight removal. And, you know, in that year of 2020, people were having a lot of mindless dates with their fridge, putting on extra weight. So, you know, as a promoter of health, which is my passion, I walk the talk. So daily exercise with cardio and weights. And I'm thinking of maybe doing an ultra marathon, but I'm not sure, but I'm training for it. So I consider myself to be, and then, you know, I'm a teacher of meditation. So I practice meditation twice a day. I do yoga asanas, sun salutations, journal every day. So I lead people in health. So I practice what I preach. And health is, if you don't have your health, it doesn't matter. Health is your wealth.
Yes, ma'am. And I have 8 grandchildren. And one of the things that I love about being healthy and fit is that I am able to run and go and do with those grandkids just probably better than what I was able to do when my kids were small. So I'm very grateful for that. Kay, how's your health coming? You are on mute.
My health has been awesome ever since becoming an associate for USANA, which is a cellular nutrition company. Not only have I been able to improve our family's health and the health of my team and all my customers and everything, but because the founder's heart is in philanthropy and helping feed and nourish people throughout the world, that's what our mission trips have been. It's been going into these countries and helping the kids and helping the people and just building health worldwide, not just with those that I influence locally or in my team. So, I mean, it has just been life-changing, and I love it. I love it. It's made a difference.
One of our teammates, Kathy Nesbitt, is not able to be here today, but I don't know if you caught her little note. She's out spreading laughter yoga all over the world. So Kathy, if you happen to be listening to this a little bit later on, we want to thank you for that. We know laughter is the best medicine. It's good for your bones and all of that stuff. We miss you here today, and we thank you for what you're doing and that you brought that to us. I know many of us, including myself, I didn't even know that laughter yoga was a thing. And so that's been a lot of fun. Olivia Vo, how are you coming along with your health?
Yes, I'm so happy to tell you that I am certified with my 500 hours of yoga teacher training, and I now lead yoga retreats all over the world. I hook up with Claudio, and he's got me on the itinerary as well, leading these retreats. So bringing mindfulness and meditation to you to help balance your entrepreneurial life.
Wonderful. Does anybody else, would they like to share their fitness and health wellness journey with us? Raise your hand if you'd like to share something. Go ahead, Miss Unga.
I'm Dr. Inga. I'm calling in from South Florida, Hallandale. And my book, Finding Your Lost Child, Understanding Allergies, Nutrition and Detox in Autism, is still going strong. I managed to go on Shark Tank and I sold my allergy kit, which is a natural treat yourself for allergies at home, and you can use it for your whole family because you don't use it up. And now that I'm 87 years old, I have all the time I want because I sold my company for $20 million. And now I can go and play golf wherever I want.
Woohoo! Congratulations. Anybody else want to share anything on their health and wellness? Claudio.
Well, I've had a personal goal for so many years. I've always struggled with it. You know, I've wanted to get below a certain weight level for years and years and years. Back in 2020, I did manage to lose 17 pounds, and I still had another 10 or so to go. I've actually lost a little bit more than that. So right now I'm currently at 183 pounds, not bad for, you know, almost turning 65. And I spend a lot of my time right now whenever I'm traveling. I love finding places that I can go and volunteer my time. I try to volunteer 2-3 times a week. Back here at home, we have a seniors club very close to us. I spend some days over there helping them out. And I just love giving back. I mean, Cash FX has been a blessing to me. I'm earning 1.3 million a month right now. So, I have plenty of time to be able to donate, and I donate a lot of charities as well. So it's been a blessing.
All right, let's move along to our next category. This category is going to be talking about something that you have learned. Something that you have learned that's been very significant, a license or something like that. And I'm going to start us off with, I've got a family legacy of pilots. And one of the things that I've started but not finished was my private pilot's license. And so during this 5 years, I made it a point that I was going to get that done. And so not only did I get my private pilot's license, but I also got my instrument rating. So if I'm out there and the weather gets bad, I can take care of that and I don't have to worry. Who else would like to share something that they have accomplished and achieved and learn under the learning category? Anybody? Go ahead, Bruce.
Well, my coaching and mindset business has taken off. So I further got more certifications on mindset, and along with that, one of my little just goals was to have a what I refer to as positive impact community. So I've created this as kind of like paying it forward, and along with the positive reinforcement, and that has just taken off. So it's just been learning more and more about how to further expand this positive, just sending the ripples out into the world.
Congratulations. Anybody else have anything that they've learned that's been significant? Vivian.
Thank you. Yes, well, I'm in the process of completing a PhD where I have synthesized the NLP, the improvisation, and mindfulness together. So as a new tool for presence and manifesting. So we're just going out and empowering people through the power of humor. Kathy and I have worked together a little bit on this, and it's wonderful to give people power back into their own minds, to channel into their own lives.
Anybody else share something that they've learned? Marcia?
Yeah, so I am learning, and I have learned different ways of reversal of aging using natural modalities. So for example, Ayurveda, which is a system of medicine that comes from the East, India. And so that's what I've been accomplishing.
What was that? What did you call that?
Ayurveda. I'll put it in the chat.
Okay. Anybody else? Y'all help me look.
Dr. Yen?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I finished got certified a couple of years ago in endocrinology and also in blood sugar, all that related to blood sugar and diabetes and stuff that I started in 2020, 21, as a matter of fact, just started it.
All right. Anybody else?
I learned to live a simple life and went to Tibet and studied with some Buddhist monks and, did a silent retreat. So I learned how to just be with myself.
Cool.
All right. We're going to move along to our next category, travel and adventure. I want to hear about all of your adventures. One of the things that happened back in 2020 was my mother fell and broke her hip and shoulder, and I brought her to live with me in Florida. And one of the things that we did was I bought a new RV and I traveled the United States and took my mom on an extended vacation, and was able to spend some quality time with my mom that I've not been able to do in many, many years. So that probably was one of my highlights, to spend that time with my mother. Who else has something on their travel? Go ahead, Kay.
Yeah, with traveling on the Great Loop, for those of you who don't know what it is, the maximum length of boat can only be 40 feet. So you're traveling in a small vessel, and you go up through Canada. You're using rivers, lakes, going through the locks, going through, end up in the Great Lakes, coming down, there's a couple different rivers, but we came down the Mississippi all the way into the Gulf. And then we went down all the way to the tip of Florida and back up the East Coast and then cut back into the river and ended our trip up there. It was just awesome, stopping whenever we wanted, visiting festivals in small towns, meeting new people, just discovering new little things all about Canada and America. It's an amazing, amazing trip.
Love that. One of the things, if y'all remember back when you met me back in 2020, I told you one of my goals was to have referral partners on every continent of the world, as well as every state in the United States. Well, I'm happy to report that has been done. And now it's amazing that we've been able to host several retreats on different continents. And I look forward to having a lot more of those in the years to come. Somebody had their hand up. Go ahead, Claudio.
Well, it's only kind of natural, I guess. I mean, most of you that have known me for a while know that I am part of a travel club as well. And, you know, the pandemic finally ended, you know, the middle of 2021.
Yeah.
So I've finally been able to hit my bucket list. And like I said, I've run out of places. I mean, I've been to Australia. I've seen all 7 wonders of the world. I finally got to spend 2 weeks in Rome. I've been there and spent 3 days and barely touched, you know, a portion of what you can see there. I have seen so much incredible architecture and so many amazing sites, and I just can't wait to continue traveling and seeing more of the world. There's so much out there. So great way to utilize my membership.
Very good. Very good.
I
Who
bumped
else?
into you, Claudia, in Rome. You know, I love having referral partners because I know I can call on Juanita, and Juanita planned this amazing itinerary where we took Italian cooking classes, and that was a little fun. I got to, you know, make my own olive oil and make focaccia bread.
Fun. And I was there too. So we did have a lot of fun. Marsha?
So I have extensive experience on silent meditation retreats. I've done 12 10-day silent retreats. So what I want to do as part of my foundation is to create maybe shorter duration silent retreats for young people in different parts of the world so that they can access the inner resources within their mind. Because I think we've been conditioned to think, oh, we only can use a certain limited percentage of our mind, which is inaccurate. And so if you meditate, you develop certain brainwave patterns like alpha and theta, which gives you access to those creative parts of the brain and whatnot. So that's what I want to do.
So are you talking where we don't get to speak? Where it's just quiet?
It's
just
quiet.
clarifying.
Yeah, so there's no speaking.
Woo.
I'm out.
Nancy's got to learn that.
We'll have to do that in 5-minute increments, Marsha. You're going to have to work with me a little bit on that.
So you start the first day because you have to, you know, you create buddies, walking buddies. You walk in silence because there's a structure to it, and then on the last day you come out of silence. So it's basically 10 days of silence, but you don't just start with it. You don't just jump into it. You have to sort of be trained to do. You culture that sort of that habit of the nervous system.
Lots of charades.
What's that?
Lots of charades, pantomime.
Pantomimes, yeah.
None of that because it's the inward focus. So anyways, that's what I want to do.
Oh boy. Anybody else have any trips that they'd like to talk about? Bruce?
Yes, this is the view from my vacation home in Maui. I'm absolutely loving it. So I've been traveling around the world with my family, and obviously this is business. They're not just vacations, it's business trips. It's awesome.
There you go. And Dwayne helps us learn all the things that we can write off. For those of you who are in Canada and for the United States, he has some counterparts as well. Priscilla.
Yes, I've done a lot of traveling. One place that my husband and I went was to Germany to see the Passion play at Oberammergau, Germany. And I went through Juanita's services. And my husband and I, we were stationed in Germany and we always wanted to go back. So we were able to do that. And my husband and I, we also like to cruise. And ever since 2020, well, 2021, they opened back up the cruising. So my husband and I, just wanted to catch up with our cruising. So we took a cruise to Alaska, the South Pacific, Africa, and we took a world cruise that lasted about 45 days. And it was just amazing.
Let me tell you something funny that happened with Priscilla. She opened up her tent one day, and guess who was walking by there on her African safari? She had no idea that that was one of our groups. And we about had a stroke out, didn't we, Priscilla?
Oh, we sure did.
So we got to have a mini reunion right there in Africa. That was amazing. Anybody else? Go ahead, Balbir.
Well, I just want to invite you all, you know, as I'm jetting across from country to country, I'll let you know what my itinerary is. So if you need a ride on my private jet, just let me know. Well, you know, it'd be nice to have company.
There you go.
All right.
There you go. Barry.
Yeah, so if you remember from one of the exercises we did, I've been avoiding going to Israel since the 60s. And Linda and I finally took that trip. It was amazing.
Happy to hear that. What was your highlight, if I might ask?
The highlight was, I'm going to say, being in Jerusalem, which, although I'm Jewish, is a central point for the world of our relationship with whatever you believe your Lord is. And everybody there is a partner.
What an amazing journey. That's still on my bucket list. I've not got a chance to do that yet, but I definitely want to do that as well.
Well,
So
we'll borrow Balbir's jet and we'll go together.
There you go.
Yeah, that would be great. You know, I got to go to Israel too. And one of my highlights, we came up on this, it was just the front wall of an old city with the gates. And you're standing there and you're reading about it. And it was the original gates to the city of Dan. And think about it, you're standing and looking at gates that Abraham walked through. You know, that are thousands of years old. And you're thinking, and we think old is like 80 in the United States, like this is old. I mean, it was just, you know, wrap your head around that. I mean, it was real. It was still there. It was still standing. I mean, it's just an awesome, awesome place. So, and I will jet with any of you guys there anytime.
All right.
Hey, Nancy, we met a new friend. We've got a new friend that just joined, Catherine. So Catherine, it's been 5 years. Tell us about all your worldly travels.
I was going to say, well, I went to Vegas and was accidentally mistaken for a hooker, but I took that as a great compliment. So, and apparently,
she's going to fit in just fine here, Eagles.
No, actually, seriously, in all seriousness, that really happened on my 40th birthday. I was like, wow, okay. Don't wear a short sundress on a windy day on the strip. Point one.
Or maybe do wear a short sundress on the strip.
One guy asked me for drinks, another one tried to buy me dinner. Well, at least I thought, okay, good. At least I get fed first, you know. So anyway, no, and actually I did take a cruise. I think I would definitely do it again. I would love to see Alaska. It's on my bucket list. And I also have seen cruise ships all through Europe because I figured, you know, what an inexpensive way to, I've traveled to see France and Italy, and Spain, and you can actually take that really quick train in between each and get in between countries in 60 to 90 to 120 minutes. So it's fabulous. And yeah, so now I'm not quite retired yet because I'm a little young for that, but my business is doing well enough that I'm able to take a couple months off at a time.
Fantastic. Well, welcome to Lunch and Learn Zoom Friday. We're happy that you're here. One of the things that some of you had discussed was our relationships. So let's talk a little bit about our relationships. Now, that can be family, friends, neighbors, coworkers, colleagues, clients, whatever that you would like to share with us on how you've been able to build upon your relationships with one another. Who would like to start us off?
Well,
I'll start.
I have a
Okay,
baby
go ahead.
relationship. So in 5 years' time, I have a little baby eagle. so I have a little baby eagle that I'm fostering a relationship with.
Oh, we thought you meant you
I
had a
will-
baby eagle.
No, I will be having a mini Olivia in 5 years' time.
There you go. There you go. Jessica, was that you that wanted to go?
Yeah, I've already created an army of mini me's. 7 is the max for my quota. Now the grandchildren are coming, but I think from a relationship standpoint, one of the things that I've always wanted to achieve and seeing it come to reality in the past 5 years are collaboration communication resort centers that are focused on strengthening family relationships and creating business and joint venture opportunities that are located in just breathtaking and beautiful places and all inclusive and gauged on a scale so anyone can come. If your income is so that 0 is what you pay, then 0 is what you pay. And if your income is that 1,000 is what you pay for the weekend, then that's what you pay. But it's all on a sliding scale, and it is self-supporting. It's a nonprofit, but it is a self-supporting with residual revenue that keeps it maintaining and growing so that everyone gets an opportunity to have these kinds of experiences.
Love it. Anybody else share their relationship stories? Marcia?
Yeah, so in the next 5 years, or in these past 5 years, in the next 5 years, I think we're going to see more connection through mental telepathy. Why do I say that? Because we live in a quantum field, which is really a field of, let's say, infinite potentiality or possibility. So some people can do this now. They can communicate through thought. And I think more people will be doing that. So I know that sounds sort of woo-woo, but that's something that I think we're going to see more of.
Well, the more that they can come up with this, learning more about the brain. I mean, they're, every day we're learning something new.
I can tell you that in some groups, this is really going on in some groups. It's not part of mainstream media or mainstream life, but it is happening in some certain groups to some extent.
Wow. Anybody else have anything they'd like to share with their relationships? Bruce, did you have your hand up? Go ahead.
Yeah, it's just like I mentioned earlier, says I lifelong dream. I met my beloved and became an instant dad and grandpa and just loving it. And actually met at an event that I was speaking at on positivity and mindset. And so we have, similar, mindset and beliefs in that. And we're just doing all that, building more and more positive communities around the world. It's been absolutely wonderful to do this as a family.
Well, congratulations. Jock and Agatha, you guys, I'm going to give you a chance to speak because we've not heard from you yet. We've kind of been going through some of the categories. Jock, what would you like to tell us about your last 5 years?
Not a whole lot in particular. I guess my daughters, one getting married and the other finding a significant other. And beyond that, making some good new friends with different networking groups like this one that I'm in. And not a whole lot else.
All right. Well, sounds like you're probably maybe already at the top of that self-actualization. You've already achieved that. Congratulations on that. Agatha.
Hi, could you repeat the questions again, Nancy? I just jumped on because like,
Oh.
oh shoot, I'm missing Nancy's event, the most important one of the week.
Yes, thank you. We're just sharing what we've been up to for the last 5 years, all your accomplishments and achievements. So tell us, highlight some of those.
Do we
for
have
us.
half an hour? Because that's going to take a while.
Oh boy, just give us 3 right now. We're going around and doing them in categories.
All right. In a sentence, I quit my union job. I ended up living in an RV and are expecting a baby in July via surrogacy. That's and have become a makeup artist, which never in my 1,000 years would have thought was even possible. Hence the crazy coloring on my eyes today, because that is something that was not even on my radar. If you had said in high school, most likely to, this would have been it. So
Well, you look beautiful.
why, thank you very much, Nancy, very much. It's all about fun. It's all about fun. And Kate knows that when I start going down this rabbit hole, talking about colors and makeup and all this stuff, I just can't stop talking, and she needs to reel me in. So thank God I've got a whip sometimes, because it's great. So that is the most least likely thing. And I still have a post which I'm waiting for in memories in my Facebook where I said, I can't do this stuff. I don't believe in myself or whatever. And here I am actually teaching classes and doing all this, which in 1,000 years, never would have I thought. And never had I attended any networking meetings for that matter, because why? But they're so good and they're so fun. So I have thankfully, thanks to the expansion of working and needing to create an income and doing all this stuff, I've met so many people that, again, not in 1,000 years would I have thought. So I think that's sort of my crazy. I don't know. Does that sum it up? We have more time.
It is. Thank you very much for sharing. And we're so glad that you're part of our tribe. Let's move along to our next category. Have any of you received any awards or special recognition? Now, this can be local, regional, national, international, whatever it is that you would like to share with us. Who has something? Bruce.
I've written 3 more books and then gotten international best-selling awards. It's just absolutely phenomenal and stuff. So I'm impacting a wide range of mindset and business, and it's just absolutely wonderful. Loving it. And it's gotten me additional speaking engagements around the world.
Fantastic. Jessica, I believe I read in that Forbes magazine that your virtual assistant is now international and you're a worldwide brand. Is that correct?
Well, we actually are international right now. We have clients in Norway, London, and Australia.
The award part.
That started in 2020. And I'm having a lot of fun in the chat. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, congratulations on that. Who else would like to let us celebrate with you? Claudio.
Well, being with the company that I'm with, we do have the opportunity to win some prizes for hitting certain ranks, and I have hit the top level. So, the top 3 levels are 3 cars or cash. So I decided to pass on the Porsche. I took the $75,000 because I needed that to pay for my insurance and maintenance on my new Ferrari. And I keep the Lamborghini as just sort of a part-time car. And so, yeah, I'm just driving around, cruising around, enjoying, the beautiful vehicles.
There you go.
Hold on a second, Claudia. Were you like serious about the Lamborghini and all that other stuff? Because I was like laughing and I'm like, no, maybe he's serious.
He is serious. This
Oh my God, that's
absolutely.
amazing. Sorry. That's awesome.
Get the program. Get the program, Agatha. Who else has some achievements that they want to share? Raise your hand. Don't be shy. Somebody help me look.
I can share.
Valbir.
Oh,
Sorry, Valbir.
So it's not recognition in the sense that it's sort of world known and stuff, but what I do want to do is be able to support, set up orphanages, set up places where I can help others that have been less fortunate than myself, to help them. I don't want the recognition. I just want to be out there creating space for somewhere that people can go for the basic necessities of life. I don't need the recognition. I just want to be able to provide that.
Well, the only thing, what I was meaning about that is we want to celebrate with you, not that you're after the recognition, which this is a great segue into our next category, which is our legacy and our philanthropy and all of those things that we've done to make the world a better place to live, work, and play. So I love that you brought that up. And one of the things that, again, if y'all remember back in 2020, we talked about how we wanted to have grants for startups and be able to support one another. So now our co-op has funded and launched enough projects that it is churning off enough residual income that we are able to supply the world with $1 million in grant funding each year, as well as $1 million in random acts of kindness and generosity and charitable contributions each year. So we done it and we continue to do it. And I look forward to seeing the more ripples effect that co-op, that little old bitty seed co-op that we started back in 2020, what we've been able to accomplish with that. So let's move along into legacy.
So on that note, Nancy,
yes,
we held an award ceremony in 2026, and I presented you with the Eagle Lifetime Achievement Award for exactly that. So thank you, Nancy, for all your contributions and reaching 10 million budding entrepreneurs with the startup grants.
Thank you very much. How could I forget that? It was such a wonderful, wonderful evening. Who else has something that they would like to, Vivian?
I do. Yeah. Well, first of all, it has been such an amazing thing to be on this journey. And I do need to just say thank you, Nancy, for all of your heart and passion and consistency. You have been a phenomenal leader and deserve that award every year. So thank you. And but what I'm so excited about is my philanthropy. I have been able to fund organizations that have taken gardening into the urban environment, so that helping people to reconnect with the earth and to eat good foods. So paying for roof gardens and turning old parking lots and things like that into gardens where kids, inner city kids, people who don't necessarily have access to fresh food all the time are learning about how to be sustainable and having access to healthy, nutritious vegetables, which feeds the brain, as we all know.
Love it. Love it. What a wonderful idea. Anybody else? What have you been doing with all that wonderful money and wealth that you've generated? How you made the world a better place? Priscilla.
Okay, so because of my financial independence and the blessings that I have received, I am able to give back to the community by providing scholarships for our young high school students and for our nonprofit organizations in my community on a yearly basis.
Love it. Love it. Claudio.
I was finally able to build something that I've had a passion for several years. This is something in my 30s that I've wanted to do. I've been able to create a facility just outside of Toronto that would house all of the homeless people. Not just a place for them to stay and live for free, but a place for them to actually learn skills, learn trades, work, earn their place in that little community, and be able to get them back out into the real world. Because I know for a fact a lot of people that are homeless right now are not there by choice. They're there because of unfortunate circumstances. So I've always wanted to give them an opportunity to get back into society. And this is the best thing that I could think of to help them out. So I'm glad it finally came to fruition.
Love it. Love it. Who else has something that they'd like to share? I know, don't be prideful, guys. That's what we're here for. We want to share the love here. Bruce, go ahead.
Well, this is with my love of positive mindset and working with youth. I created a couple different foundations. One that they call the Wishing Well Foundation. I work with several other like Make-A-Wish and that for kids that are sick, and that to give them a wish, and that we partner with several organizations like that, but also other youth organizations to just really uplift and encourage the youth to actualize their full potential, to uncover their hidden gifts and just thrive, and give them scholarships for school and that. So it's really about uplifting and encouraging the youth.
Anybody else?
Yes. So you guys all heard of the ROI, which is return on investment, but I have a new foundation, nonprofit foundation called the ROI Group, which is the Ripple of Impact Group. So we work together to inspire young entrepreneurs around the world with scholarships and grants. So ROI, Ripple of Impact.
Love it. Who else has something they'd like to share in that category? All right, we're going to move along now to the wild card category. This first round is, what is the most outrageous, craziest thing that you have wasted or spent your money on? Something absolutely fun, crazy, didn't matter how much it cost, you just maybe always wanted to do it, doesn't care how ridiculous it sounds. What would that be? Anybody have something? Surely with all that money, somebody's been frivolous and had some fun and just kind of threw some money around at something.
Well, Nancy, Olivia, Debbie, and I don't want to confess, but we all got together and rented a yacht for a week and did some wild and crazy adventures, port by port, all through the Florida coastline there and beyond. So good thing we had a captain to run things when we weren't quite ourselves to run it ourselves.
Yes, it was a wild edition of Entrepreneurs Gone Crazy.
There you go. There you go. And stay tuned for the picture book. It'll be coming soon. Little video, video snippets. Anybody else? Come on, get your juices going. Go ahead, Bruce.
Well, since I wasn't aware of Belbeer's private jet, so I went ahead and I rented a jet for some family and friends on several different occasions, and we jetted across America and Canada and just had meals in different cities, and then another one for dessert. And that it was just a lot of fun in that.
Love it, love it, love it. Balbeer, did you have something?
Yeah, that was tiring, Bruce. That was.
How much weight did y'all gain, or was it all healthy eating?
Yeah, can we maybe do one whole day in a place and we get to enjoy all the meals, and we can do this every weekend, Bruce. So you don't have to rush it, right?
Well, you lose some of that weight when you're going up and down in altitude. So
Oh, is that how that works? Claudia.
But on Balbeer's jet, she served us like $1,000 caviar. It was like to die for. For a spoonful.
And the picture of everybody's face when they had never really had real champagne before. I'm talking the best El Primo worldwide. Thank you, Balbeer. What a treat that was. Go ahead, Claudia.
Thank you, Balbeer.
Well, I actually rented out one of Gordon Ramsay's restaurants and hired him on to cook for me for a week. And I had to even pay an extra $100,000 to have him not curse because I had my family there with me. So food was incredible, but boy, was it ever hard for him to hold his tongue. So yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Lot of bleeping going on. Did you have a little thing ready on the fly? Oh, looky there. Balbeer's got her bottle of booze she's holding up. Look at that. That's her memory bottle right there. Who else has something that they'd like to share? All right, now we can do any category whatsoever. So if this is something that you bought, an asset, something cool. I've been wanting one of those Can-Am spiders, and I got one of those, and I also got a slingshot, and I was absolutely ridiculous and bought a Mercedes replica convertible 19, I believe it's 38, for parades, so that I can ride it and look all hot and sexy in the parades all across the United States. So that was my big splurge. Go ahead, Vivian.
Well, I bought, houses or condos, something appropriate for all of, my sister, my cousins, my nieces, my nephews, everybody, so that they have homes now that give them the security. It's not extravagant places, but just a place to call their own. And I feel so grateful that I could do that.
Rent a riverboat and take 2 months traveling through Europe.
Oh, yes. That sounds like a great eagle itinerary adventure as well. Anybody else? Go ahead, Marcia.
So I took a group of 30 people to the Grand Canyon, and we hiked down to the Grand Canyon for 5 days, and well, let me see. Yeah, for 7 days. And we did a number of different things there. We camped at the bottom. Everybody had to bring their own food, their own tent, their own sleeping bag. And yeah, we had
Did y'all ride the donkeys and do the river rafting while you were there? Were you able to get on that list?
Yeah, we did all of that. And I actually did that. I hiked the Grand Canyon to the bottom 5 years ago, camped there with 30 people, and then hiked back out. So
wow.
I want to take 30 people down and do that.
Was you sore?
No, not really, no.
Count me in when room service is involved. That trip is for me.
Sounds like something I would do.
Jessica, you'll be in my camp then.
I think I saw you down there when we helicoptered over the Grand Canyon.
Oh, you gotta feel the experience of nature. Come along.
Nature from a distance.
All right. Who else has something that they'd like to share that they've done over the last 5 years? Anybody? Anything else on your list that you have forgotten to tell us about?
I wouldn't mind sharing. What
Okay,
I would like to do is in the next 5 years, maybe not 100, but definitely have visited another 50 countries. And it doesn't need to be by private jet. It can be by commercial, which is perfectly fine, but experienced and lived. Haven't been to Australia yet. Haven't been to New Zealand. Haven't gone to Asia. Done all of Europe and Africa a lot, but those are their pieces. Every single time I go out on a trip, you just learn. You learn. So much learning. So to me, that's the best way of like expanding and stuff. So yeah.
Well, speaking of Asia, I'm originally from Vietnam, so I have a beautiful coastal resort that I'm building. You guys are always invited.
Sounds wonderful, Olivia.
Yeah.
Yes. One of the things that I'm going to do this upcoming year is we're going to have a worldwide map, and we're going to get our tribe together, and let's figure out who has connections where, and let's put this worldwide map together so that we can connect the dots, so that we will have friends and acquaintances all over the world. Like you said, there's nothing more that can enrich your life than to go to a new place, experience new culture, learning about people and how they live and do things differently, and not have tunnel vision and all of that stuff. Just in this group alone, we really have expanded a lot of our views and thoughts in a lot of areas over the last little bit. Who else has something that they'd like to share? Go ahead, Bruce.
Forgot to mention, since I got the vacation home on Maui, and that one of the really cool resort centers on Maui is Lemuria. There's lots of underground crystals throughout this resort, and it's a wonderful retreat center, and I'm in negotiation to buy it.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So I have 3 published songs being sung by top artists, and they're featured in #1 in the mainstream of the music world that were gifted to me by God. And I finally went through the publication process and they've taken off. So I'll be writing more music soon too.
Congratulations. Yes,
Thank
Claudia.
you. You're a songbird, Jessica.
That's it.
Well, I actually want to send out some gratitude for all the people that have come through this group with anti-aging systems, and you know, Agatha actually did my makeup to make me look like I've got a beard. I mean, isn't that a great picture of me that I took yesterday? You know, you guys did a phenomenal job, and thank you so much for all the help from everybody. And you know, I plan on keeping that look for a while. So thank you, Agatha, and thank you everyone else for all the great products.
You're welcome. Not a problem. Anytime.
Yes, there's no such thing as aging anymore. We're all youthing, turning back the clock. That's our
That'd be
new
like
word.
the new trend of 2022, youthing.
Youthing, yep.
Minimalism, but youthing. I love it. Great.
70 is the new 50.
There you go. I agree with that. Everybody look in the camera. We forgot to do a screenshot and we've missed half of our people. I think that's already left. So everybody look, 3, 2, 1. All right. If anybody got any screenshots, of course I'm recording this, so we'll be able to go back and get some of those. Anybody else?
Yeah, I just want to just say, not personally, but it's just been amazing to watch since 2020 and all the upheaval and the craziness of the politics of 2021, just to see how people's hearts have opened and just the big collective shifts of taking care of each other, and that the whole up-leveling and the generosity of spirit, like it's something cracked open, and it's like people finally got that we're all connected and that hearts are open and joy and generosity are good places to come from. And so the world just feels so different now in general, that it's, you know, I mean, it was sort of like the kernel of like what we were experiencing back when this group started, but it's just, it's like it's had a ripple effect. And like if Marcia's has been talking about, so many groups working on their higher principles and their higher hearts and their higher minds, that it's taken effect. And we are so fortunate to be here and witnessing it at this time and experiencing it.
Yeah, so can I just talk about something here?
Yes, Marcia.
So in 1993, so we're talking about the field effect and the potentiality and people coming together and the effect they have on the environment. So in 1993 in Washington, D.C., a number of us gathered there. There were thousands of us called, and it was the Maharshi effect, which means that when you get a group of people meditating together, it has a field effect because we live in the quantum field. And what happened was there was a research study that was done, the pre and the post. So when we started meditating at the beginning of week 1, the crime rate in DC was at a certain level. And then at the end of 3 weeks, the crime rate had gone down significantly. And then when we all left Washington, then the crime rate went back up again. So anyways, I just wanted to talk about that.
Wow. And what was that called?
I'll put it in the chat.
Amazing.
And Deepak Chopra was there.
Okay. All right.
Just before we move to the next thing, I want to say that I did drop a really great abundance meditation YouTube video link in the chat. So please save the chat. I really like that one. So I just thought I'd share that with you guys. And I'm just so cool. It's so cool to be connected to all these amazing, accomplished, well-connected, and damn, let's just say it, rich people, because, you know, shoot, you got to hang out with people who have the money to have the money. And I've got the best friends ever.
I agree. I agree.
People in high places.
That's it. All the right connections, right here. Okay, we're going to close this session down. Thank you all for participating. Let's do a little roundabout session on what this felt like. So start from the beginning when you first heard about what we were going to do. Talk about what you thought about the idea. Have you heard about this idea of doing something like this before? I will share with you, I got this idea because in Jack Canfield's book, The Success Principles, when I first heard about it, he told about doing this live. And so I started doing these events live in some of my seminars. And it was truly amazing. You know, people would get dressed up, they would come as if, you know, everything that they had accomplished, and the whole evening was spent in character. And you could see in the beginning, it was kind of tense a little bit. People didn't know what to expect, but you know, it didn't take very long. Few minutes, everybody got warmed up, and somebody would say something, somebody would piggyback off of that. And I mean, it was just loud and vivacious, and it was just the most amazing thing every time that we did that. And people would talk about it forever. And so that would get everybody back to, you know, going back and really rethinking on what they wanted their lives to look like. Sometimes some of us think that we're visionary and that we're really big dreamers. But when you get into a group like this, you find out that, oh my gosh, I need to up my game, you know, when you hear what other people are saying. And so that's kind of what my thought was to kick this year off, to get you to really start thinking about your life in bigger and better ways. So who would like to share? Anybody?
I still would love to do this in person at our retreats. It's something that we are definitely organizing and putting together. But I mean, I think this is just so powerful because we're putting the intention out there into the universe, right? And Stephen Covey says, begin with the end in mind. So this is what we're doing. We're already planning what we're going to want to envision happen, and we're speaking it out, and we're giving energy to that, and we're using telepathy and building relationships in this moment. So I am so looking forward to seeing how this all manifests.
Me too. Balbir, did you have something?
I'd never done this exercise before, so thank you for that, Nancy. I mean, I've done vision boards of what I thought I wanted, but I wasn't dreaming big enough. And the thing that gets me excited is the impact of the number of people that we're going to affect along our journeys individually, the ripple effect. I am just so excited. Thank you for getting me pumped up.
Me too. And that's one of the things that I noticed is, you know, even though we're all ambitious and we want to do really great things, it is truly about helping other people, making our world a better place, whether it's our family, our friends, the people inside this group. And that's exciting. I mean, that is really exciting, knowing that, you know, we need to find out what we're here on this planet for, what God make us for, what is going to be our ding in the universe. How are we going to make a difference? And let's start working towards that. Yes, Claudio.
Yeah, I've actually experienced it two different ways. I did go to an event that the whole theme was exactly that, you know, what you planned on looking like in 5 years. And I actually had this same shirt on, shorts, and a golf club. And that's what I walked around with the whole night. So I planned on being at the golf club, golf course every day. The other thing I've done is we have a mentor of mine up here that has done, he used to do several events once every 3 months. He would do a 3-day business master. His name is Colin Sprake. And there would be a segment in that 3 days where he would have 6 people huddled up in a group, and everybody would shout out what they accomplished 5 years from then. But he would have the music on so loud, you'd have to be yelling at the top of your lungs just so the person next to you can hear you. And talk about energizing, you know, it was phenomenal. So he would actually come and, you know, we would start doing it. He says, okay, I want you guys, 1 out of 10, I want you to guys be a 70. And if it's not loud enough, you're going to have to do it louder. So everybody would start, you know, really loud. And then all of a sudden the music would crank up even more, and we'd have to scream even louder. So it was really energizing. It was a lot of fun.
Bruce.
Yeah, so I haven't done this in this format, but one of, you know, Ellie's got a program going, and one of the coaches in there had a separate event. We called it the what she called the universe time machine thing. So where it was like anything was possible type of thing, and we had to really get excited and share everything that was going on, and it was like 5 years in the future and that. But One of the really important things is to speak it and act, and it starts in motion, the subconscious, to actually cause these things to come true, because the brain, when you're in that mode, the brain sees it as already something that has happened, and the subconscious will seek out evidence to prove it true. So you're going to start things in motion. The more you do this type of thing, and more it's going to flow to you.
And Bruce, I mean, you have that positive mindset tool where you can even put your own images or superimpose you in those like pictures in the slideshow, right? So I think that's a fabulous tool that you've got.
You can customize that so that when your brain, if you got someplace that you want to go, like if you want to speak on stage or at a certain vacation resort or whatever, you find a photo of that and you Photoshop yourself in there. And when your brain sees that, it sees that, oh, that's already happened.
Yeah, that's a powerful right there. Yeah.
Yes. And
I would love to be on a
the
TED Talk.
affirmations, make sure that you're doing that in the present tense, not past tense, or not like it's in the future when you're speaking those affirmations. Yes, Marsha.
So two things. So Dr. Joe Dispenza, I'm a real fan of his, as you can tell. And he taught, here's what happened to him. He was in an ultra, what's that, where you do those three things, the bike, the swimming.
Triathlon.
Ironman. So he was doing the bike portion, got hit by some kind of big vehicle, got knocked off his bike, broke his vertebrae. He was a chiropractor. He didn't want to do surgery, so he was flat on his back, and he used his mind, using visualization, mental movies, reconstructed his vertebrae because he was a chiropractor, and he healed himself back to health with a fully functioning vertebrae, and he was up and working, I think, within 4 months.
Wow.
Anyways, follow him on Instagram. He's there. The other thing too, I want to talk about this vision casting, 5 years out. So in 2009, I was at Jack Canfield's event, Breakthrough to Success, in southwest part of the States. And we had that Come As You Are party that you're talking about. So anyways, here's what I wanted to do. So I took a book and I put a cover on it, and it's called Man, Change Your Body, Change Your Mind, Change Your Body. You can be, feel, look better, Marshall LaCour. And so what happened? 2014 or 15, I wrote my first book around health, and I was coaching men around health and wellness. So here's two of my books: Healthy Wealth, and another one about the book of hepatitis C. So when you have that vision, it can come true. And I even took a Jack Canfield Chicken Soup for the Soul book and put the cover on it.
Very good. Anybody else have any thoughts? I wasn't sure how this was going to work out, virtually. Go ahead, Vivian.
Oh, well, I just love this exercise, and it is something that I do with friends on the phone. We'll call it Remembering the Future, and just get on. And if someone is in a mood or feeling stuck, or just needs a lift, we're like, well, talk to me from, 5 years or a year from now. What happened? And it does. It builds energy, and it builds excitement, and it opens the door to the possibility, which is all what creative thinking is, possibility. So not being focused on what isn't or why it can't be, but just that it happened, and then, and this is what happened, and this is what happened, so that it makes room for synchronicity and serendipity in your path. And it is super fun. And I use it all the time. So I love this idea. Visual vision boards have never really worked for me, but talking it, embodying it, coming from a place where it's inside is a really empowering experience. So if you're ever with a friend who needs a boost, just remember the future. And you might have to model it for them because they don't get it right away. But once you do, it's a lot of fun.
There you go.
What I liked about the group exercise was you know, I've always had these collaboration, like healing relationship centers in mind. And it was always this silo thing, right? And when I started talking about it, then Vivian said, well, then we'll do improv classes at your centers. And I started thinking, oh yeah, and Claudio could do financial stuff, and Bruce could do mindset stuff, and, you know, and Barry could do health stuff. Like, I just started seeing all of you in my
world.
You know, yeah, how you would have an impact on some of my dreams for the future, which I thought that was kind of cool.
Yeah, and I would recommend that we do this quarterly, Nancy. I think there's a lot of fun, you know, quarter.
That's funny, Olivia, because that's exactly what I was going to say, not necessarily quarterly, but
teleporting my thought to you.
Yeah. But everybody does this like late December, early January, and then they forget about it the rest of the year. And
Yes, yes. I agree. I agree.
Exactly. And I think it has to be habit forming, right? And I think Vivian, you brought up a good point, you know, like people learn in different modalities. So some people are not visual, you know, some people are more kinesthetic, auditory. So I think this is a really good exercise that combines that element.
Well, maybe too, what we need to do is connect action to it. So what are the 3 actions we're taking to reach, you know, maybe we pick one or 3 things that we really are driving towards in this list, and decide what are those actions. So then we go around the room and say, okay, what actions have you done over the last quarter, and what actions do you plan on doing in the next quarter to continue the momentum?
Yeah. Yes. Like a baby step.
Yep.
So like, you know, 3 baby steps, and then we'll rope in Marcia for accountability. And so we've got the whole elements of a program right here. Right. So maybe like 3 baby steps that you can commit to that one item. And then maybe just an ask, like, what do you guys need like right now in this moment, an immediate need? And then we'll just do accountability with Marcia.
one thing you might think about is I was doing a bit of stuff with somebody on planning, and they said that what you want to pick as a priority is something that'll have leverage, that'll make things easier and get things moving for you. And so by picking something that'll have leverage in other facets, it's going to have the biggest impact. So just think about that as you're choosing things.
You guys and gals are amazing. Amazing. Laura, you have been awful quiet today. Leadership, Laura, would you like to weigh in? Are you up to it?
Yeah, I'm having a bit of a tough day today. I don't know why.
Yeah, I figured you might be.
Yeah, what am I weighing in on? Can you just go over that again? Because I've just been actively listening to you all.
Well, just your thoughts on how we can continue the conversation here and help one another to make these visions a reality.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what you guys all told me today is where you want to be if you were the world champion of your life, right? Like if you were the best in the world at whatever it is that you want, right? And so if that's 5 years out for you, which is what we talked about today, then you need to make sure that you put that 5 years out and that it sticks there. It can change along the way, but you want to have that goal at that space. And then work back from that to where you are now to make it happen, right? So don't just have it as some dream that's a woulda, coulda, shoulda, maybe, right? You want to make it real. So that's what I would say about it. And I think the idea of an accountability group is great, and you know, tracking progress and you know what has changed for you and what's changed in your life, because like, you know, stuff comes along, life happens, right? Especially nowadays, and we just got to kind of go with the flow, right? So yeah, the only thing that's going to make you accountable is you, but the support team around you are the people that's going to make it happen.
Yeah. So I would suggest, you know, start with your top 3, put some legs underneath it, and then we'll come back and revisit that. And I'll get with Olivia and Debbie, and we'll try and come up, and Marcia, and we'll kind of come up with a little game plan for you, and we'll send that out in an email and see what we can do. Well, this has been a lot of fun. Let's talk about next week's theme. Our featured speaker will be Marcia LaCour on the 22nd. Marcia, just a little reminder, you'll be our featured speaker next week. What would we want our theme to be? January the 22nd. Any thoughts?
I'm going to be missing that event because I've got another all day event I'm going to be at. So.
All right.
How about a hobby? You know, I don't know if you guys all have hobbies or maybe something you do for fun, like a creative outlet. Perhaps we could share like that or a memento of that.
Okay. I'll go
Oh,
with
that'd
that.
be fun.
Yeah, I also think that what might be cool is to get you guys thinking about what you can add to your business or your life for more income. Like, what are those extra streams? That might be a cool, fun thing too. So that
Yep.
gives you, yeah.
I'd like to have that actually as a session. Laura, I've got you down. Let's you and I talk offline on that. Maybe we can incorporate that into what you and I were discussing.
Sure.
Okay. Anything else? Well, all right. For all those on visiting us on Facebook, we hope that you enjoyed our session today. I hope you learned a little bit about some of the members of our tribe. Claudio, did you have something that you wanted to share before we get off of here? Was that
I was just going to say maybe another, for the following week, maybe we can do goals for the year since we're still at the beginning of the year.
Yeah.
What realistic goals do we have set for the end of the year?
We can do that.
And I'll make a post because on LinkedIn, you actually have this option now when you create a post to share a goal, and it's indexed to hashtag 2021 goals. And it's a great way to network, meet new people, and you can be part of that campaign. So I'll make a post to share that.
Fantastic. All right. Make sure that you save your chat today. Thank you all for participating, and I will see you next Friday. Cheers.
See y'all next week. Have a great weekend, everyone.
Thank you, Nancy.
Nancy, can we stay on for a sec? I just have a
We
quick
sure
question.
can. Uh-huh.
Awesome.